Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Brandon. Welcome back to Marotta Media. So the Academy Awards are happening this weekend, and the past few years that I've been on YouTube, I have done videos ranking the Best Picture nominees from the worst to best. And I have now officially seen all 10 of this year's Best Picture nominees. And to tell you the truth, I think this is a pretty solid lineup. With the exception of one that you will see eventually, I thought all of these movies were good to outstanding, and quite a few of them ended up in my top 10 favorite movies of 2021. Now, I reviewed some of these movies, and like I said, I did go over a few of them in my favorite movies of the year list, so I will try to give brief thoughts on them, and I will also be giving my updated predictions for what I think they could win on Oscars night, because I did make a video a few weeks ago predicting who I thought the winners would be, but a few of my picks have changed since then, including the big one. Sort of. So with that being said, let's get this thing started at number 10. So starting us off at the bottom at number 10 is the only movie of these nominees that I consider to be a terrible film, and that was Don't Look Up. Don't Look Up is one of the most self-important, preachy, and just downright unfunny movies that I have ever seen. It's embarrassing that this movie is comedy or a satire because it's not funny at all. And after thinking about it, I honestly think that this movie suffered from its star-studded cast because it truly felt the need to give each of them as much screen time as possible, despite the fact that almost none of the characters had an effect on the overall narrative. The fact that this is nominated for Best Picture at all, I think, is an absolute joke. But the biggest joke of all is that this film is nominated for Best Editing, even though it was quite easily the worst edited film that I watched all of last year. This movie will not be winning any awards on Oscar night, nor does it deserve to. But yeah, this is the only movie on this list that I would truly consider to be a horrible movie. So, moving on. So it just gets better from here. At number 9, we have Guillermo del Toro's Nightmare Alley. Nightmare Alley was one of the last few of these nominees that I watched, and this movie is very well made. I mean, it's Guillermo del Toro. The acting by all is phenomenal, especially Bradley Cooper. The cinematography is stunning, and like most Guillermo del Toro movies, the production design is just jaw-dropping. But that being said, I just thought this movie was good. It was fine, but it's not really something that I ever feel the need to watch again. It's not bad, it just wasn't really for me. The story didn't really resonate with me at all, and I am not a person that faults a movie for being long, because if a movie is long and I'm entertained, then I'm all for it. However, with Nightmare Alley, I was kind of bored, and this movie is 2.5 hours long, and I felt its length. The fact that this got a Best Picture nomination was kind of shocking to me, because I would have picked Tick Tick Boom over this, but that's just me personally. I don't believe Nightmare Alley will win any awards. I could see it winning Best Production Design, but that seems kind of like a long shot, at least to me. But yeah, overall, this movie was good. It wasn't for me, and it's fine. But I totally understand why people enjoyed it. Following that up at number 8 is what I still believe to be the Best Picture frontrunner, The Power of the Dog. Much like Nightmare Alley, this movie is immaculately made. Everything about it is done just so superbly. The direction from Jane Campion, the acting by the ensemble, the cinematography, the set design, the sound design, the score, the setting, everything in this movie was so well done. But what I appreciate most about movies is a good script. And the script for this movie, while it was not bad, it just didn't do anything for me. I had no connection to this thing, and I didn't really, to tell you the truth, I didn't quite understand what the film was going for. It was a slow burn, which I totally admire because I love movies like that, but this one just didn't do it for me. Like I mentioned, I believe this to be the Best Picture frontrunner still. I mean, it's being challenged by something else that at this point I could honestly see winning, but we'll get to that. But I believe Power of the Dog is leading every movie with the most nominations at a whopping 12. And I think the only shoe-in that this one has is Best Director for Jane Campion. I think she has that one in the bag. But I did pick this for a Best Adapted Screenplay, but it might lose out on that as well. So it would be quite amazing if this movie was nominated for 12 Oscars and it only won one of them, and that was Best Director. Has that ever happened? I'm willing to bet that it hasn't. But much like Nightmare Alley, incredibly well-made movie, perfectly understand the appeal. It just wasn't for me. At number 7, we have Kenneth Branagh's Belfast. Belfast, for a while, seemed to be the Best Picture frontrunner. When I saw this movie in November, it seemed like this was definitely the favorite. And even though a lot of people seem to think that this movie is overrated Oscar bait, I personally really enjoyed it. I thought the acting by the entire ensemble was very well done, and at no point did I really feel like Kenneth Branagh wrote this movie just for awards. I feel like this was a truly personal story for him, and it meant a lot to him, and he perfectly showcased that in his direction. But I understand why people may not like it, because it is very feel-good and what you would call a crowd pleaser. As of right now, I believe that this movie will win one Oscar. I think it will take home the award for Best Original Screenplay. I could see another movie winning that, but like I said, we'll get there. But overall, I really enjoyed this one, and I think that Best Original Screenplay will be its only win of the night. At number 6, we have King Richard. As a person who absolutely adores sports biopics, I guess you could say this one was right up my alley too. King Richard really borders that line of kind of being this studio crowd-pleasing sort of movie while also being kind of art house, because everybody in this movie is truly giving it their all, and it's just a well-made film altogether. It's edited really well, it's written really well, and Will Smith gives possibly the performance of his career. And that's why I think, well, not really think, I know that he will be taking home Best Actor. I don't really think it's even a debate at this point. I think Will Smith has the thing locked up. I would have much preferred to see Andrew Garfield win because of the nominees for Best Actor. That was my personal favorite performance of the year. But that's not to take away from what Will Smith did in this movie, because he was remarkable. And I think that will be its only win of the night. I mean, there is some speculation it could win Best Editing, but I don't think that is going to happen. But when Will Smith walks up on stage, I'll be happy to see him finally get his award. At number 5 is the last movie that I watched of these nominees, and that was the Japanese film Drive My Car. Drive My Car is a movie that will not be for everybody. This movie is 3 hours long, so I'm pretty sure a lot of people probably checked out if they tried to watch it. But this film is just so well directed, it honestly blew me away. There's one specific scene that takes place in a car where one character just goes on this long monologue, and I was mesmerized watching the entire thing. The direction is also amazing because there are so many languages being spoken in this thing. It's a Japanese film, so obviously they speak Japanese, but there's characters that speak Mandarin, Korean, there's English, and there's even a deaf character that speaks sign language. It truly was amazing to see all of these different languages and cultures come together. And I really have to tip my cap to Ryosuke Hamaguchi, the director of this movie. After watching it, I fully understand why he was nominated for Best Director. However, he will not be winning that award. As I mentioned, I believe it will go to Jane Campion. But Drive My Car will absolutely be winning Best International Feature. It's nominated for Best Picture, obviously, as well as Best Adapted Screenplay. I would definitely rewatch Drive My Car, but probably not anytime soon. I feel like this is the sort of movie you have to be in the mood to watch. But it is getting a Criterion release later this year, so I'll probably be picking that up. Batting cleanup on my ranking of this year's Best Picture nominees is Koda. I mentioned in my favorite movies of the year list that Koda is one of 2 movies of last year that made me cry. And I watched this movie again in January, and I cried again. I don't know what it is about this thing, dude, but it gets me. It really gets me. And like I mentioned earlier, The Power of the Dog is what I believe to still be the favorite to win Best Picture, but Koda right now is challenging it. And if Koda won on Sunday, it really wouldn't surprise me at this point. And as happy as I would be to see that cast and crew go up on stage and accept the honor for Best Picture, it would also really make me nervous. And the reason it makes me nervous is because if Koda wins Best Picture, it will forever be seen as one of the worst Best Picture winners ever. And it does not deserve that. This movie is so good, man. It's so endearing, it's so sweet and heartfelt. This movie is not trying to make any political statement, it's not trying to offend people, and at no point did I feel like this movie was Oscar bait either. This really felt like something that the cast and crew were truly passionate about. Is this movie really that ambitious in terms of scope? Absolutely not. The cinematography isn't really anything special. Just from a technical standpoint, it's not really doing anything all that amazing. But when you have great direction, a great script, and actors who all have amazing chemistry with one another, just giving it their all, that's what makes this movie so special. All of the characters are so memorable, and you just begin to love them throughout this entire journey. And that is why I believe Troy Kotsur, who plays the father Frank, will be taking home the Oscar for Best Supporting Actor. My initial choice was Cody Smith-McPhee, but Troy Kotsur has been sweeping everything except the Golden Globes. And if he wins, he will be only the second deaf actor in history to win an Oscar, the other being his co-star Marlee Matlin. I also think that this could be taking home the Oscar for Best Adapted Screenplay. If it won that, I wouldn't be shocked either, but my initial choice was also Power of the Dog. But if this movie wins Best Picture, man, I'll be excited for it because I love it so much, and I hope that this gets a physical release on Blu-ray. Please, Apple, make that happen. But yeah, if this wins, I'll be really happy for it, but it will also make me super nervous as well, because this movie really doesn't deserve to get shit on. It's so great. At number 3 is Steven Spielberg's West Side Story, another movie that I rewatched recently, and honestly, it was better the second time I watched it. Steven Spielberg really knocked it out of the park with this one. You could tell that this man truly had a vision for what makes West Side Story so great, because he improved on the original in just about every single way. Nothing against the original West Side Story, which won Best Picture and several other awards, including Best Supporting Actress for Rita Moreno. And it's funny that Rita Moreno won that award, because I believe the same award will be going to the actress who played the same character, and that's Ariana DeBose. They both played Anita, and I think Ariana DeBose is going to win this award pretty easily. And I think she deserves it. She absolutely killed it in this movie. And I'll tell you the truth, I didn't quite notice her performance the first time I watched this movie, but the second time I watched it, I was like, yeah, She deserves it. She deserves a nomination, and she deserves to win. She crushed it here. But sadly, I believe that might be the only win for West Side Story of the night. It's nominated for a lot. I believe I picked it to win Best Production Design, but I don't believe it's going to win that anymore. But I will be happy to see Ariana DeBose go up on stage and accept her Oscar, because I just realized recently that she was in the original cast of Hamilton. And if you watch my channel, you will know that I'm a big fan of Hamilton. So here we are at the top 2, and the top 2 are the same as my top 2 for my favorite movies of the year. So number 2 is Licorice Pizza. Easily the funniest movie of last year. I was laughing pretty hysterically. And when I laugh a lot, I begin to cough pretty violently. And I was coughing pretty violently when I was watching this thing in theaters. And the theater I was in was pretty packed, because I saw an early screening of it, and there was a lot of people in there. So I probably made them nervous, thinking I had COVID and whatnot. But this is definitely Paul Thomas Anderson's most human movie to date. It's just a simple coming-of-age story about one person's desire to be young again and another person's desire to be older. And when they find each other, they find that right balance. But this movie has had a lot of controversy surrounding it too, obviously, because the main characters have quite an age gap between them. The character of Alana, played by Alana Haim, is 25, and the character of Gary, played by Cooper Hoffman, is 15. But at no point did I feel like this movie was trying to piss people off. Unfortunately, I do not believe that Licorice Pizza will be taking home any hardware on Sunday night. It did win Best Original Screenplay at the BAFTAs, so if it won Best Original Screenplay, I could see that happening. However, I do believe that award will be going to Belfast. But Paul Thomas Anderson did get a Best Director nod for this as well, and I think he definitely deserved it. Such a great movie, but I really wish it had more opportunities to win, because I think it deserves at least one. Alright, here we are at number 1. And if you guys have watched my channel for any amount of time, you know what number 1 is. I mean, there's hints here, there's hints here. It's Dune. Dune was my favorite movie of the year last year. Denis Villeneuve did such an amazing job adapting Frank Herbert's classic sci-fi novel. No movie really enthralled me the way Dune did. I was transfixed to the screen the entire time. Just the world building itself was incredible. Now, some people may disagree with me because this is a part 1, so it is just setting things up, but I thought that when action occurred in this movie, it was incredible. Some of the most well-directed and best-looking action sequences of last year. And honestly, I think Dune is going to have a big, big night. This is definitely sweeping all of the technical categories. It is going to win Best Sound. It's going to win Best Visual Effects, Best Cinematography. I believe it will win Best Score, possibly Best Production Design, and Best Editing as well. I think it will go to that. It's still just an absolute travesty, though, that Denis Villeneuve was not nominated for Best Director because, I mean, it's cliche, but he directed the shit out of this thing. This movie was so great, and I truly feel like this will be the next Lord of the Rings. And what I mean by that is all of the Lord of the Rings movies were nominated for Best Picture. So I fully anticipate if Dune Part 2 is just as good as this, which I imagine it will be nominated for Best Picture as well in a few years. And who knows, maybe the third movie, which I believe is called Dune Messiah, will be nominated for the most Oscars ever, win everything it's nominated for, and eventually Best Picture, much like Return of the King. But that might be a pipe dream, and I might be getting a little too ahead of myself, but I'm really excited to see where Denis Villeneuve takes this franchise. Well, that's it, everybody. That was my ranking of this year's Best Picture nominees. If you guys agree with my list, then let me know. If you disagree, then let me know what your ranking is. I would love to know. And also let me know if you guys agree with my picks to the awards. If you guys like this video, be sure to hit that thumbs up and do not forget to subscribe. If you want to see my rankings of the Best Picture nominees from the past 2 years, I'll link those right over here. Other than that, I hope you all have a tremendous rest of your day, and I will see you all next time.